Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Pila. Again, I am your host for Civvie Debrief. And I want to take the time to welcome everyone to the 2020. I'm still trying to figure out how to change it from 2019 to 2020 every time I sign. So don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Civvie Debrief, All Access Broadcasting. And I'm really excited today because we're going to be talking about a little bit about politics and what's going on with deployment. And I'm really excited because I get the chance to talk to someone that I've been wanting to talk to for a while. And his name is Andre Andrews. And we get to talk about deployment.
Big facts. Navy deployments. I love them.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Andre Andrews, United States Navy.
Yeah.
I did 4 years in the Navy. I was on 2 ships, USS the Raven, USS Sullivans. I was forward deployed in Bahrain for 2 years on a minesweeper. Actually, it wasn't that bad. It gave me a very unique perspective on, I would say, the overall outcome of like politics and military operations externally. Even though I was young, I was only about 18 overseas.
Oh,
but
in Bahrain?
Yeah, still got to see a lot on a minesweeper, surprisingly. You know?
Is it a dry country?
Yeah, it's in a sandbox and it's hot as hell too, man.
Oh no, I mean like alcohol-wise, cause
No, it's not dry. No, it's not dry. You can drink it. You can drink in Bahrain for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. And I did my second ship, USS Sullivans. On that time, we went to a med cruise and we did a deployment. We had 19 ports on that deployment. So I have a positive outlook on my whole military experience.
Well, sure. I mean, since you touched on deployments, and I think we're getting ready to deploy some troops. I know that the 82nd Airborne just took off.
It's gone.
Because of what happened in the Middle East, which what the fuck? Honestly,
I don't know,
the
bro.
fuck?
I ain't gonna lie. I'm having this discussion with a lot of my friends right now.
Yeah,
I'm more or less kind of like stuck on the timing. You know, maybe this could have happened 6 months before the impeachment, maybe a year before the impeachment. You know, if this is such a bad dude and this bad dude needed to die right now, I also wanted to see some more intelligence too. Like actually today, Senator Mike Lee, Republican, after he came out of the briefing for all the GOP members, he really had some strong words. You know, he was just really saying about the lack of information within this intel brief that he was supposed to get. And he's saying as a senator for the past 9 years, he never seen a briefing like this. So for a senator to say that and to be a GOP senator too, I'm listening right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, politics aside, unfortunately, this particular thing, it happened.
Facts. It's done.
The fact is, it's done.
Exactly right.
Then what bothered me was the retaliation that happened after, which was the bombings of the rockets
on the base.
On the bases.
Yeah.
Luckily, there wasn't anybody.
I think it was a message. Me personally, I feel like they was really trying to send a message, because if you could hit on a base those many targets and still not hit any barracks or any kind of like installations that civilians or military personnel was at, I feel like you really just sending us the message like you do have the capability, but that's not the move you really want to make. I think that's what Iran said. So,
you know what, because of the rockets and everything, especially now that the 82nd just got deployed, I think it was
it had to be like 3 days ago.
Yeah, about 3 days ago.
Yeah, 3-4 days ago.
Let's talk about our deployments. I know that I wish that we had somebody that had currently deployed on a, you know, because I don't know what years did you
I deployed in 2001 to 2003.
Okay.
And I'm for sure a naval deployment is much different than Army or Marine deployment.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your deployment.
My deployment, it wasn't that bad. I just got into the Navy right before the towers fell. So I was in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was home on leave. I was at my recruiter's office, and we watched the tower fall on the news. So after the towers fell, got back to Norfolk, and I was told, well, instead of you being stationed here in Norfolk, George Bush sending you to Bahrain. I almost thought I can get out of that deployment, and he was like, no, sailor, you're going to Bahrain, and that's it. So 2 days later, I was on an airplane in Bahrain.
You were 18, just
that's it.
got
Fresh
out of high
boot
school?
Camp. Yep, man. I graduated high school on Saturday. Tuesday, I was in boot camp. Yeah.
What did your family think about that? I mean, they, especially since you were so close to the 9/11 attack and getting deployed immediately right after. Like,
I mean, family. If you got a good family, they're gonna be worried. Any family, naturally. So it was at the height of the 9/11 attacks. But being in the Navy, my family wasn't necessarily too worried. But at that particular moment in the Navy, we was able to call home kind of often. The particular ship I was on and the base we were at in Manama, Bahrain, it wasn't like really on DEFCON 4 by the time I got there. It was definitely a bad situation when I got overseas, but the way, me personally, the intelligence worked then, it was much more strong and secure. Not getting into politics, but my commander-in-chief, George Bush, at this moment in time, I'm not going to say he was a bad guy. I feel like the decision he made when we went overseas, maybe some of the intelligence could have been bad. No weapons of mass destruction. That's a different conversation. So
yeah, I feel like, you know what, I served in the military too. I was Army. I have a lot of patriotism and I have a lot of respect for the chair that any individual sits in, that chair that individual sits in. Doesn't matter who the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not agree with the particular, the way they act, the way they talk. You might not agree how they run the country, but you have to, especially being military, you have to respect the chair. So, and I joined in 2001 too. So the administration at the time, I might have not agreed with some of the politics that happened, but I thought there was as long as as far as the entire cabinet was concerned, I thought it was a pretty strong.
Thought it was strong too, like George Bush, Dick Cheney, but then after they got out of office, when you find out really some of the details, like I was having a conversation with another friend of mine, I felt like this current conflict is about the oil. Not fully, but for sure partially. Yeah. Iran has the third or fourth largest oil reserve on the planet. A lot of these sandbox countries are sitting on a lot of oil. And like I was telling some of my friends too, again, being a lower ranking personnel in the military, you only get to see certain things. So I was telling somebody when I was overseas on my deployment in Iraq, well, from leaving from Bahrain to go to Iraq, there's a lot of sea-based oil refineries. So for sure, as we were sailing and going towards Iraq, I personally watched a couple of SEAL teams kind of like take over a sea-based oil refinery. As we were sailing, going towards the river, I seen Iraqi flag, SEALs came past us, made it to the oil refinery. By the time my boat passed the oil refinery, American flag was coming up. So it was hard for me to really say it wasn't about the oil because they took the base, say it was going to do it for a positive situation, and then turned it over to an American contracting company. So you could tell me it's not about the oil, but Dick Cheney made a lot of money off.
Well, the Bushes made a lot of money out of it.
Big facts.
Yeah, that's a fact. They made a lot of money out of the war. Both his dad and Junior did. But let's take it back a little bit and talk about, because I know that with Civvie Debrief, one of the biggest things that we want to be able to do is transfer those stories or show those stories that really resonate with the veteran and the family members, the transitioning stories, the difficulties. And today, because of what's going on, we want to talk about like the transitioning, or not transitioning, the deployments. And if you have any stories of how your family felt, or any phone calls that you might have had with your telling your family after them watching the news and the towers coming down, what was it like with the first phone call that you gave them or that you received from them?
Honestly, because of my particular personality and being in the Navy, I can't really contest to a negative experience. Now, mind you, my family was worried that their child is in harm's way. Any family should be worried. But at the same time, I was always just reconfirming with my family, like, we're safe. I'm not in the Army. I'm not in the Marines. I have no clue what the door kickers do. And I got mad respect for any troop. Like, obviously, Marines and Army aren't really troops. I think somebody got at me the other day about Marines not being troops or something like that. So I don't really know. Is it true? Like, if you're Army, you can't be a troop, or if you're Marine, you can't be a troop? Like,
I don't know. I'm a paratrooper.
You're a paratrooper? Oh, okay.
I'm a paratrooper.
Sorry to take you off, but yeah. But I just kind of feel bad for. I feel some type of way for the new people going on deployment right now. I feel like that might be today's wars might be much more stressful, because when I was in the service, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have social media, we didn't have Twitter, so the information not only was not coming at us that fast, but we also wasn't getting it back out that fast.
Yeah, you couldn't communicate
100%. So the communication channels were different back then, because all you did was have a cell phone. You know what I mean?
Do you remember that green box phone that they used to use with the tiny ass cable that came out of it?
You had a green box?
Yeah, the green box phone.
We had we had booths in Manama, Bahrain. You had like a booths with like cubicles of walls in it, and they gave you it looked like a payphone almost, and you got like a certain amount of time to dial your American numbers, and after the 15 minutes up, you kind of got to get about there. It felt like jail slightly, but obviously we had freedom, so it wasn't that bad.
No, it was. I remember this stupid ass break. It was huge, man. It was like this big. It was stupid ass big ass phone.
Was you on a base when you had to use that phone? Okay.
Yeah, both because I've been deployed both in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Were they remote bases? Did they give you these like sat phones almost? Was that a sat phone?
I didn't get a sat phone until I was in Iraq. My last tour in Iraq.
Okay.
But it was like a little tiny sat phone. It's like that big. But no, the beginning I remember because we did the first flow into Afghanistan, Kandahar, and the stupid phone like that big, dude. It was so unreliable. You always dropped and you always had to yell like what, and trying to communicate with the family back home. It was horrible.
I ain't gonna lie. We talked often. Remember the military email addresses they gave you? Did you ever get a .mil email address?
No, yeah, but
I got a .mil. I mean, yeah, it was like we get emails maybe like once a day. They do that one drop. You get all your emails at the end of the night. So you respond to everybody. They'd all go out the next day.
Oh, I didn't get email access till probably about 2 months before I came home.
For real?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty rough. But being in Bahrain, we got email access pretty much from like day one. It was a very sophisticated base we were at, Manama, Bahrain. It was a beautiful base.
Yeah. My first deployment into Afghanistan, we didn't have any communication with family members, just other than for snail mail.
True.
For like 3-4 months.
My second ship, my destroyer, we were on a deployment. We didn't have that much comms, but we had email on board the ship. But pretty much you wasn't sending no email or text message until you got to the next port, And my longest stint out to sea was about 19 days, But that deployment was a very unique deployment because on my second ship, I was able to take civilian clothes on a deployment. While I was forward deployed in Bahrain, and they told us we was going like a little stint to Iraq, we wasn't able to take civilian clothes. But when I was on my ship in Mayport, Florida, they told us we was going to deployment, we was able to take civilian clothes. We was able to take civilian clothes because we knew we were going on like MEO ops, so we was going to be hitting some very significant ports. That deployment, we had 19 ports. So it was a very interesting deployment for sure.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I've been on a ship, I forgot which one it was, and it was like 4 days we were being transferred somewhere. Yeah,
you probably was like an amphib ship. A lot of amphib ship travel, and they take like Marine detachments, Army detachments, stuff like that too. So
yeah, we were on one of those ships for like 3-4 days. I remember I fucking hated it. I'm 6 feet tall, man.
Oh, everything's small on the ship.
Yeah,
you duck in. Gotta watch the knee knockers. Yeah, but it was fun. Being on board the ship, like sometimes when the waves get real bad, you're almost walking on the bulkhead, boat rocking real hard. So I ain't gonna lie, I was seasick a lot, but it was fun. Even though I was seasick, it was still fun. Yeah.
I don't remember getting seasick. I've been on boats a lot, but I do remember hitting almost every fucking piece of my body, man. Like my elbows turning around. You gotta watch knees.
Yeah.
And I'm a clumsy motherfucker, so I'm just like throwing my arms around and shit. So, but it was neat. Other than that, it was it was a little different. But the one of the things that we wanted to talk about too is, and you mentioned it, is the difference now, because I know that I've talked to current vets, like had just gotten out of ETS out of the military, and they talk about the deployments, and I'm like, Really? You had that? So
I'm not gonna lie. Like, as time goes on, the technology changes, and I feel like when I was in the Navy, I was getting stories about the old Davy Jones Navy, old real salty guys.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you salty? Stuff like that. So, but obviously, being in the military and tradition, I find that fascinating. Just getting a better understanding of what people did before me. I'm not really sure how it is in the Army, but
no, I
kind of look at it the same
love
way.
it too. Were you at the gala? Did you go to the gala, the post gala?
No, 43.
Yeah,
No,
post
no,
43.
no.
Oh, you're a member of. You can.
Yeah,
You're a member. Post.
American Legion, Hollywood. I mean, I'm not Hollywood.
No. You're Pacific Palisades.
I am American Legion Pacific Palisades. Ronald Reagan Pacific Palisades Post 283.
283.
Yeah, yes,
cool.
sir, yes, sir.
And you guys had a gala, and you invited, I believe it was 3 World War II vets.
Okay.
One of them was a female, which was amazing. And you brought it up. It's just amazing to hear their stories and the differences in
Yes.
how their combat was versus our deployments and things. Holy shit, dude! I'm always in awe of, especially World War II vets, Vietnam vets, and how they perceive their deployments.
The older vets are some tough SOBs.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. We would think we tough just for serving, but they didn't have none of the amenities we had.
Yeah.
And they still got the job done. Probably in like even worse situations than we were, but they still got the job done. So a lot of times I just got mad respect. At my post, we have a couple of World War II veterans, so I often take pride in having conversations with them, just getting to understand them, reminding them about the new generation having much respect for his generation or her generation. Because I know Santa Monica Post has a 95 or 96-year-old World War II veteran that's still kicking. Her name Anna Brown.
Anna Brown.
Everyone knows Anna Brown. Yeah. She's
Anna Brown,
super awesome.
If you are listening or anyone knows Anna Brown, if you know Anna Brown, bring her to the show. We would love.
Actually, we can make that happen. Jared Morgan is the adjutant at Santa Monica Post 123, so we can definitely hit him up and get Anna Brown out here.
Oh man,
she is such a quality character for sure.
Which brings up a good point. Is I wonder if that's how the well, maybe not as far as World War II, but the newer vets, if that's how they see us. Holy shit, you guys were in the beginning of the war. And
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like nowadays with these younger veterans, they kind of just not younger veterans, younger human beings. I'm 36 now, but a kid that's 21, 22, we kind of don't even necessarily vibe all the time. They just are interested in much different things than we are. But at the same time, we could say the same thing for the people above us. I'm interested in maybe some different things in a Vietnam veteran or Desert Storm veteran or something like that too. So
that's a good perspective. I used to have the mentality that I'm a grunt for life.
True.
So I used to have this grunt mentality of if you didn't have a combat MOS, I don't need to talk to you, or it was just this arrogance that came out of me when I had recently gotten out.
Army.
Yeah. But I like that perspective of the older veterans see us that way, like, oh, you're just some punk kid that, although they are very appreciative of the service that we did.
100%.
But they're like, oh, you don't know what it was like when I served. And we do the same thing to the younger vets, like, oh, you don't know what it was like when we served. It's different.
I'm noticing, like, with the younger veterans and younger human beings, the access to information is much greater than what we had. It's the speed of the information, the amount of information that you have. I feel like now today's military should be able to make much more advanced and prosperous decisions because you're able to do so much research.
Yeah.
When we was in the service, we was still reading books on like old school ships or what other ships armament was and stuff like that. Now you can Google it, like, so
yeah, instantaneous information in an instant.
Facts.
And but so and I'm ignorant in this particular area because I don't know too much about Navy ships. But do you know if Navy ships have Wi-Fi now?
Navy ships had Wi-Fi for a while, but you got to think too, like, it wasn't quantified as Wi-Fi, I don't think, when I was in, because it was like either you plugged into remember we had landlines,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what they called it back then, but I definitely don't remember hearing the word Wi-Fi when I was in the Navy. No.
So in the comment below, if anyone is in the Navy, currently in the Navy, or has been in the Navy recently, I want to know if there's Wi-Fi in the goddamn ships now. Like,
yo, for sure they got Wi-Fi now. I'm pretty sure every ship is outfitted with Wi-Fi.
I would love to know.
Another quality thing too, like when I was on deployment, which is obviously being Hollywood, but it was fascinating to have this experience. But we was watching all of the new movies that was coming out.
Really?
What? We was getting 8mm. There was like little cassette tapes, and like every week or two, we was having anything that was new in the movie theater or latest that was coming out. We will always have it early.
Were they bootleg?
They could have been bootleg, but I think they was real. But I think they was real. So I found, like I say, again, my deployment was interesting because it wasn't that bad. You know, we didn't have we wasn't getting shot at. You know, when I was over there, I just wasn't in the Army getting shot at. Obviously, we went to Iraq and we had to help some British ships escort them up some rivers. So, you know, because the rivers was laced with mines. So I'm not really sure if any of the mines that we blew up was active or not, but I know we detonated some things out there in the water. We pushed some things out the way, and we did like a lot of quality operations up there in Iraq when we went too.
So we went through your deployments and you know, you obviously you had some hardships. Well, did you have any hardships while you were in the military, or
hardships? I mean, people. I think people is the hardest thing to do. Obviously, being a young sailor, you know, I think I was 21 on my second ship, and then my ensign in my department was like 24, fresh out of college, but he just had so much power. Being a young person with a degree and to get in the military. No knock in the officers, don't get me wrong. I love everybody in the military, but a lot of times it's quite power trip, bro.
You know what? You're right. There's a certain respect to the rank.
100%.
But there are some dipshits in the military.
100%. I think my hardest time with the military was people. For sure, dealing with some unruly individuals. But back then, even probably now, I'm hoping that other service members just allow it to go in one and out the other, because you really can't do nothing to them.
Yeah.
You know, you just kind of got to take it. You know, Butterbart tell you what to do. Yes, sir. With the grind your teeth.
And butter bars, dude.
100%.
So we go through the deployment, and your family's, you know, coping with your decision of going into the military and getting deployed, and kind of wrapping their head around you not being around and being in a part of a country that's so hostile all the time for hundreds of years now, I believe. And then coming back, what was that like? Coming back after going to those deployments and ETSing out of the military, or I don't know if you guys call it ETSing.
Yeah, we call it TAPS, Transition Assistance Program. When you get out, I give you like 2 weeks. My experience after my deployment was rough. Not gonna lie. Like, the hardest part was having a job telling you that you're overqualified. You know, fresh out the Navy, all these qualifications on my resume, things that I've done on the ship. I go to a shipping yard in Florida, and I was told no. You know, and they told me no. The manager told me no. He couldn't hire me because he would have to fire his manager because I was more qualified than his current manager. So he couldn't give me the job. Those few interviews that I got in Florida pretty much shaped my life, understanding what it really means to be a service member. You know,
what did it mean? What did it mean to you then when you felt that much rejection over and over?
You almost don't feel equal. We are part of a different type of 1%. So one would think, as a warrior of its country, when you come back, you would reap the benefits. I can almost not say totally feel how Vietnam felt, because it wasn't that much hatred, but going to civilian jobs back in 2005, 08 to about 2008, it was very difficult to get work. And a lot of it, I feel like it was because of stigma. I've even had some bosses saying, we are scared to hire veterans because he might flip out or something like that.
We don't know what the trigger is.
Yeah, but even so, from from a veteran talking to another veteran and a veteran talking to a civilian perceives things differently than we do.
Yeah.
So when a civilian is communicating in such a way where we're not used to it because we're used to order, and they don't have any order, so they yelling or chopping at you, and you almost like, well, wait a minute, two things is about to happen. So you about to get off the ground, or I'm gonna get in trouble. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to figure those.
Or those two things at the same time.
Like, so we're trying to figure those things out. But I think that was my biggest problem, was dealing with people. People really didn't know how to deal with us because you almost don't want to say you're a veteran at times.
So did those feelings or those emotions that I speak a little bit from experience, Ed, because I know that level of rejection for us brings us into a dark place. What was that? What was your dark place? What would take us to your darkest moment?
My darkest moments was just trying to find my purpose. When you're out, you almost don't have a purpose anymore. You know, like your purpose was your mission. My mission was to take care of my brothers and sisters at arm, or take care of this ship, or just be a good person in the military. I had a purpose to be a good person in the military, make rank, get awards, achieve something 20 years from now. Get a retirement check, my life is set. I feel like not having that purpose when I got out struck a hard chord. And a lot of times certain guys don't always come out of that dark place, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, I had to travel to really try to figure it out. I started in Florida, came out here 11 years ago, then still was in a dark spot trying to figure it out. I'm gonna be honest with you, American Legion changed my life. You know, American Legion really brought me out of that dark place. It gave me another sense of purpose. You get missions in a Legion. They give you opportunity to do things, to grow with this community. Each city should have their own posts, and each post is like an extended family. I found my second family in American Legion, and that changed my life. That brought me out of that dark spot.
And I would like to echo that same feeling, or that same verbiage, but I don't think it's the same for every post.
Understood.
I know I completely agree with you with the Pacific Palisades because I've seen it. The Hollywood Post shares it a little bit as well, but there's certain posts that either need help or they just given up, and it's just a building. You know,
I found with the American Legion, you have to make the Legion what you want it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the Legion provides you with opportunities. It provides you with a space. It provides you with a network. How do you capitalize on that network? I'm going to be honest, there's no bias here. I started at Hollywood Post. I love Hollywood Post. Hollywood kind of like defined who I was. But then other posts was like, we need some support too. So I took a deployment, went out to Santa Monica, helped them out for a while. It was a fascinating experience in helping the Santa Monica Post. But then Palisades Post seen something in me. Palisades Post gave me opportunity. Palisades Post said, here's a mission. We want you to accomplish it. And having an organization like this trusting in you and believing in you, it gives me a new sense of life. And they've really been helping me out, the American Legion. They've really been supporting, new ways on persons like myself, giving other veterans way to relieve stress.
Yeah.
I say that because they support this equestrian program. We started a fascinating equestrian program that we help veterans mentally with PTSD because they get the opportunity to come out there and bond with horses. Having a 2,000-pound animal and you share an experience with them, you won't get that no other place in the world. So my post supported me, and I'm able to provide that assistance to other veterans. I think the American Legion will help you find a purpose. Not everybody, like you say, not all the time.
Not all posts, but if any veteran is interested in joining a post, join the local post and improve it, make it better.
Yeah,
I do agree on that.
Well, reach out to other posts too. Even though I'm a Pacific Palisades member, I go to Hollywood Post a lot. I communicate with a lot of Hollywood members. A lot of Hollywood members partake in the programs that I have, So it is still one community. Even though you're part of your local post in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you take a trip, you come out to California, you're instantly welcome to Hollywood Post. You're instantly welcome to Palisades Post. So it's an extended family, a new community. you're part of that community a little bit. You got your connection to it, regardless, even though you're not a member, but you're still connected, bro. I know you garnered that because I seen you when you was there, and we had that together.
No, I do love the camaraderie. My fiance is really involved in the post, and I support her 100% in what she does.
His fiance is our preacher, so she does all our prayers. Chaplain. Took the word out of my mouth. She's our chaplain.
Yeah.
Amy Bravo, what's up?
And but want to take it back a little bit. You were talking about that transitioning, and but I don't think I heard you speak of any. There wasn't any specific trauma. You didn't go through any really hard deployment, or maybe not, because you were mentioning that you didn't get fired at, but it was difficult, and the transitioning was different, and that's what I want to express to the veterans.
It still was scary. We coming from a small town in North Carolina, and now all of a sudden you have to go live in a foreign country for a long duration of time. I was only supposed to do a 12-month deployment in Iraq or in Bahrain. 9 months into my deployment, we get a letter not even a letter. It was an announcement over the loudspeaker. There's a group of people that has to stay for another 12 months. My name got called. So it's almost like we wanted to go in there and flip out, but what you gonna say? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. You on orders. If somebody say you got to do this, you got to do it. So had another 12-month deployment, and being overseas, being in Iraq, being in, like I was explaining to the producer earlier, we were in theater. Being in theater alone brings its stress. Yeah. Okay? Regardless of necessarily you getting shot at, I still have to support you. Like, you still got to support detachment and back. If somebody bomb your support detachment to take out your supplies, then you don't have nothing. You hurting on the battlefield.
No, it's a constant. You have to be on your toes. It's
100%.
Hypervigilant all the time. And that's what I wanted to share with our audience, is that it doesn't matter at what capacity you have served. It is stressful shit.
You're an American in a foreign country
that doesn't like you,
and you don't look like them. So it's not like you can blend in.
I don't know.
you might get lucky. Okay, you put a turban on, you might get past. But
I have worn a turban, and I've done.
I couldn't pass. I mean, unless I just couldn't pass. Unless I spoke Arabic. But other than that, honestly, and too, like, I've had some very unique experience with some of these people in Bahrain. Because a lot of times I've had one memorable experience to me was one time, and not to like take it anywhere, but a Bahraini was telling me this is like to the minority community. It's not your war. Why are you over here fighting this man's war? You know what I mean? Yeah. So having them not only being a service member in a foreign country, but being a minority service member in a foreign country, you might get a benefit of doubt for people to communicate with you a little differently, And it's not about a racial thing, but that's what they see, whether it be about religion or race. It's one of the two. It's not about my country versus your country. You know what I'm saying? It's about my religion, or you look different from me. That's why we're fighting. That's what's the weird part.
Yeah, it's it gets very difficult, and I can't express this enough, because I used to have that mentality of why are you getting a service-connected disability? You were support, and boy was I couldn't be any more incorrect about that subject. Just because I got shot at, I got stabbed. It doesn't matter, because people are different. People perceive danger differently. People react to it differently. And I've come to the realization, it was a couple of years ago, that my service is just as equal as anybody else.
100%.
And that's what I want to stress to the new veteran,
Facts.
new veterans that are. Yeah.
And me being in a supply department, I've garnered a higher respect for door kickers, Army, Marines, whichever. But you going in, walking down those streets, I got mad respect for you. But not to say that I have less respect for somebody in a personnel man doing the mail. No. Because when you're on the front line, I have to sort your mail, make sure it gets to that right sergeant so he can give you your mail while you're out in the field.
I'll tell you, I think it's because of our ASVAB scores. We're just some dumb motherfuckers. We crayon these stupid fucks.
I make fun of them crayon jokes a lot.
Facts. I should. One of my best friends. He was actually on, I believe, on our first episode. Mark Dewey. Mm-hmm. He's a Marine. Actually, was a Force Recon guy, and I've been wanting him to get like a crayon cake for his birthday. I think I'm gonna do it this year.
It's actually a funny joke. I got some Marines I want to get at. Jeff Daly, I see you. Yeah, he's a good one.
But man, do you want to share anything else with the audience before?
This is a fascinating experience. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to voice my opinion on this subject matter. But also just give like a call to action too. Any veteran out there that needs support or needs some help, find that system. I'm not here to just blast a legion, but find a legion, find a building, find that community. I would tell a veteran to do that. You're not alone. We are all out here together, and there's help. For sure, whether it be programs or a post or any other nonprofits, there's a lot of help. So if you're feeling some type of way, please, please, please reach out to your other service member for some help.
We just had some service members deploy not too long ago. Any advice, if and when they do listen to this podcast?
If y'all out there in Sandbox, Godspeed. Keep your head down and stay safe, and we hope you all make it back safe. And when you return, we got your support when you come back.
Yeah, definitely. From an 82nd guy to the recent deployed 82nd unit that just left, like you said, Godspeed and thank you. So, in closing, I want to be able to provide a little bit of guidance for either the veterans that are about, or the service members that are about to get out, the veterans that have gone through some struggles. Like you mentioned, just find a community, find your niche, find your purpose and your mission, your why. What is it that you're wanting to do, so that it gets you to the next day. I know that it took me a while to get to that why, but it definitely helps when you wake up each day with a purpose. So I really appreciate it. Happy New Year again to everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. See you next Wednesday. Don't forget to like on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't know if we're on Snapchat, but if we are, just look us up. All Access Broadcast, Civvie Debrief, and on LinkedIn is Jose Pila. That's the only social media except because I hate being on my phone. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.